Hi everyone, I'm your host Abigail Johnson, and welcome back to another episode of Passion, Pursuit, Purpose, where passions, pursuits, and purposes collide. This show will showcase persons of different passions, how they're moving forward in purpose, and it encourages you to do the same. I'm so excited for what this show has in store, and I'm even more excited for the journey as we move forward in our purpose driven lives. Comment what's your favorite part of this week's episode. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to this channel for new episodes that will be coming up throughout the time and in the future. Our guest for today is Mr. Victor Brown. Hi!
Hey, Abby, what's up?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Cool. I'm good, I'm not bad. It's been an incredibly busy day, an incredibly busy season, but giving God thanks, I don't have a lot to complain about relative to many persons who are going through a lot of stuff at this time. So today is a fairly good day. So I'm very
good day. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank God we have nothing much to complain about. We're alive and everything.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
For those who don't know, they're not familiar with who Victor Brown is. Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I am a Christian creative. I'm a multi-passionate, so I have a number of things that I'm very passionate about. Those include music. So I'm a singer-songwriter. Just creative expressions. I'm a creative director. I'm a writer, so I write articles. Haven't completed a book yet, but I have started a number. So
all right.
I'm trying to be faithful in that. That's a work in progress, but let's see what God does. And I believe a lot in like legacy creation and creative mentorship. So one of the things that I do is I lead the Creative Tribe, which is a group of Christian creatives. We produce different written works together, like weekly devotionals and articles, but outside of that, there's a small mentorship group of Christian creatives that I lead, and I help to like pour resources into them and support them and pray with them and that sort of thing, and just work out different stuff together with them. So that's more or less some of what I do. Yeah, there's a lot more to it, but yeah, I guess that's like an introduction.
Yeah, that's a lot for an introduction. That's a whole lot. So a Christian creative, like what is a creative to you? Tell us.
What is a creative, or who is a creative?
Who is a creative?
So to be entirely honest, and this is something I shared in my creative mentorship group just was it last week, I believe, yeah. Every single human being that is on the earth or that has ever lived, I believe, is a creative in some way, shape, or form. A creative is simply someone made in the image of the creator and possessing some creative capability.
Okay.
Oftentimes people hear the word creative and they kind of think stereotypes. They kind of think, singers or musicians or visual artists or performing artists, when in truth, every single human being, Genesis 1 in verse 27, the Bible talks about God making man in his image and likeness. And also see in Genesis 1 verse 1, where the third thing that we learn about God is that he is a creator. He's a creator God. So he begins to create things at the start of the Bible story. So every believer and every human being in general has the imago Dei, has the image of God imprinted upon them. And so as a result of that, we all possess some sort of creative ability. It will look different from person to person.
Yeah.
And so for me, a creative is really somebody who I think is aware of that, conscious of it, and is in pursuit of it. I think that's an active creative. But in a sense, every human being is a creative.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the title really does speak to those who have recognized that, I have this creative capability, and I'm going to pursue that in a great purpose.
Yeah, I mean, come to think of it, I feel like I would have thought in the past, like before you just brought that to light, I would have said a creative would be more so like just someone in tune with the arts and is able to express themselves appropriately in that manner. Yeah. Those weirdos, okay, but you are very much right. Jesus, our Lord, is a creator. God is a creator, and that's one of the first things he
Yeah.
said, and he showed us that he makes, he
Absolutely.
creates, and he causes things to
Absolutely.
manifest. And if we are made in his image, we then do have the ability to
Yes.
create.
Yes, we possess that creative spark as human beings. So
Yeah, so what was childhood like for you then? Was it that you, with what you love now and what you embrace now, was it that what was that journey like up to this point?
Yeah. So childhood for me was interesting. I mean, I grew up in a Christian household. I had a Christian upbringing. Both of my parents were pastors. My mom is still a pastor to this day. God bless her. Solid woman of God. And my dad passed away in 2008, but up until the time that he passed away, I mean, I grew up in a household where I saw marriage exemplified, a godly marriage, a godly home. Both parents were present. My father was a great dad. My mom is an exceptional mother. You know, I have 2 biological siblings and 2 adopted brothers. So in terms of my childhood growing up, I'm the last born of the biological ones. So, you know, I would have had my older sister and my older brother at different times, you know, in my life, and we had a lot of interactions and stuff. Grew up in church. So, you know, being a pastor's kid, of course, you know, church is mandatory.
Good old PK. Yep.
Yeah, you know, you have to be in church every single Sunday. Which, I mean, looking at it now, I'm grateful for, because there is just so much that I benefited from that kind of spiritual upbringing. But back then as a child, of course, there were times that you would have just not feel like being in church or whatever. But, you know,
Yes.
It wasn't all the time. To be honest. Most of the time there was, because it was just our thing, you kind of just fell into the pattern. Like, yeah, this is just what we do. Or this, with church people, what people of God, this is just what we do. But yeah. So grew up, and at about age 6, 7, somewhere there. But I got saved at 5. I gave my life to Jesus at 5 years old. I wasn't pressured into it, because people always ask, were you pressured? Did the parents like force? You know, it was just in family devotion. Actually, I didn't remember what Bible story they were telling us, because they shared Bible stories like in family devotion, and I just felt the conviction, and I came into an awareness that I was a sinful creature and I needed to be saved, and I wanted salvation. And so I asked them to lead me in prayer, and they did. And about 2 years later, at about age 7, I was water baptized and baptized with the Holy Spirit. That doesn't mean like the road after that was easy, of course, but that's my salvation story. Began to play piano at somewhere there about, just fooled around on the piano, and began to sing a little bit, began to play drums a little bit, and then over time each of those kind of grew at their different rates. I began to write songs at about somewhere around 10 years old. Somewhere there I began to
10.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I began to hear, when I'd hear songs on the road, I would remake them. So I'd hear like Usher's Confessions, and I'd change the lyrics to gospel, and you know.
Okay.
I'd hear the secular songs, and I'd turn them, I'd flip them, remix them to gospel songs, and then I began to write like original compositions over time.
Okay.
So that was childhood. I mean, I think I had a good childhood. Moved a bit. I think just the one of the major things was I was homeschooled as a kid, which means I didn't go to public school until 12 years old. My parents felt like it was better for me to be in a homeschool environment. It was more controlled, more spiritually sterile. And of course, the academic curriculum that they felt was suitable for me could be tailored at home, as opposed to you going to a public school where you're just getting whatever is decided. So went to Wilmers from first to third form. Then in third form, my mom was like, nope, your behavior is changing. I'm going to put you back into a private schooling environment, because my dad passed away and that's a whole lot of stuff was going on, man. So our picnic start broke out, so she decided to say getting back under control. So there was that. What else? Oh yeah, I think just one other thing I'll say, and then is my parents went into full-time ministry when I was around age 7. which
Okay.
was a drastic life change because I was born in St. Anne, but have no memories of it because I was there till probably age 2. So of course, I was too young to remember any of that.
Okay.
My family moved to Kingston eventually, and my earliest memories are in Kingston, where my dad was student services manager of Chancellor Hall on University of the West Indies, and he was also hall chairman. So
Mm-hmm.
my earliest childhood memories are in the house on campus. That was our family home. But then my dad and my mom felt like they were calling them into full-time ministry, so they resigned their jobs and they moved us to the country. So we went to St. Anne, then Trelawney. Well, St. Anne, then Monique St. Anne, Claremont St. Anne, then Trelawney, then back to Kingston. And, Kingston was full circle at that time. The church was raised up and in full effect and all of that vibe. It was raised up before we left Kingston, but it grew from their return to Kingston. So
Okay.
yeah, that's in a nutshell. I mean, that's a mouthful, but that covers, I think, the basis.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is.
Even the whole so remixing songs. I mean, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds very PK-ish. I mean, church kid-ish. Let's put it like that. I feel like we've all been there at some point where we want. Yeah, we were all at that point. So
yeah.
even
I feel like some people didn't have that, but yeah, I think a lot of us can relate to that. That journey.
Very much so. So I see on like your IG in the description, you have a little saying that says, "Living urgently, loving dangerously." Like, you can expound a little on that. Tell me, what does that mean?
Yeah. So I'm 27 years old now, and perhaps 2 years ago, I mean, over my entire journey with the Lord has been doing this in increments, but I feel like the most rapid season of him doing it, or the most intense season of him doing it, would have been about 2 years ago, when there was this great sense of, I need to live very urgently, be very purposeful with how I'm living, be very focused with my decision making. And this is not just with regard to like a secular pursuit. This was more with regard to him showing me my creative identity, making that clear to me, and then being like, listen, I want you to go after this very purposefully. And so what that looks like is pretty much just trying to live, people call it trying to live a purposeful life. And so more or less, I think that sums up the sentiment. And living urgently, meaning, I think a lot of us, even as Christians, live our lives very complacently. Like, I'll do that tomorrow, or God gives you a vision or something to do, or he calls you to do something like, next year, or, I'll get around to that, or, you know what I mean? And my days, I think, I no longer have that luxury. That luxury has been removed from me. So I really try to do as many things as I can with my life before my time is up, because life is short. And so I feel like there's just a sense of urgency that is on me to just live urgently, not just, like when you have a meeting and you're trying to get there urgently, you might drive a little faster. So for me, it's like living more purposefully. I don't have time for certain things anymore because I'm growing older and I don't have time to waste. So, there's that. And loving dangerously, the second half of that is, I think when we look at love in the Bible, it's such a powerful thing and such a dangerous thing at the same time. I feel like Jesus died because of love. The 1 Corinthians 13 description of love is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense.
Crazy.
And so it costs a lot. And so love has always been described, true love has always been described as a risk. And so for me, loving dangerously is my personal commitment to loving, I think, the way the Bible compels and commands me to, which is a dangerous thing. You're going to get hurt along the way. You're going to have days that it's not easy. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much what that mantra pretty much in some ways sums up just my existence.
Yeah, and along the lines of loving dangerously, I mean, the Bible does say that perfect love casts out fear, and I feel like what really inhibits us from being glass doors and just open, transparent with those around us is fear, because of past experiences, our minds are
Right.
preconceived to
Right.
expect something, expect a specific outcome, and so we then,
Yep.
in fear, don't truly express the love that Christ had for us, which
Yes.
was
Yes.
up to death. And that's, you made up good points. 1 Corinthians 13, that the descriptions is very selfless and very just lay yourself down, you consider others over yourself, and it can be draining, it can be, but the strength of the Lord is what will equip us to consistently not be afraid, but to love dangerously, as you said. So
Yes.
make sure you follow Victor on Instagram at iam.victorbrown, on Twitter
Yes.
at iam_Victor Brown, and on YouTube at Victor Brown Music. Go over there and follow him, please. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And
Yep.
make sure you follow me on Instagram at _AKA Johnson and at Passion Pursuit Purpose for updates in the week. Stay tuned for new episodes where we feature special guests and they share how pursuing their passion and God's purpose influence where they are today. Comment what's your favorite part of this episode. Again, make sure you like, share, subscribe to this channel for updates in the week and to keep up with what's happening here. Thank you for watching. See you next week.